Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't read the title, we are going to Mars and landing on it and coming back. But I never specified we are coming back. So, yeah, that's just a bit of foreshadowing for this video. As you can see here, I'm in the VAB, building the rocket. I am adding landing wheels, not trying to do anything fancy like I did last time. Since last time I fiddled with these for way too long. I was checking if the landing legs were touching the ground, so we didn't have any issues. But we did have issues. Maybe I should have put a little bit more fuel in the lander stage, but that's fine. What's the worst that could happen? Here I was making the transfer stage, or the orbital stage. Then it was time to make the first stage, the most powerful one, so I can lift off the ground. Since Earth has way higher gravity than Mars, I have to use these Hawk engines. But, you know what? Maybe the lander that can land on Mars could also go up on Earth. I mean, it's small, so you don't need that much thrust to move it up. But yeah, since this rocket has a ton of payload in it, which the payload being just the lander, I had to use these Hawk engines. I clipped these engines in. I don't know, the Hawk engine looks very weird without being clipped inside of a fuel tank. It just looks way better if you clip it inside of a fuel tank. Now, I was complimenting if I should add a fairing, but I did in the end. I don't know if it was just aerodynamics. I just think it would look pretty cool. But I didn't have enough space for the fairing, so I had to clip a fuel tank inside a little bit. But in the end, I didn't really have to do that. You'll see why in a moment. I'm gonna take the fairing and start it off. I went to the transfer stage, then the lander, which had this weird thing happen to it. It was really annoying. I hated that. It always did that or the other thing, so I just did that and it seemed to work. As you can see, I never went up with a nose cone fairing or whatever it is, but here it is on the launch pad, and beautiful liftoff, if I say so myself. This thing is a beauty on the launch pad. Probably not such a beauty in space, honestly. But now we're just trying to get into orbit, changing the angle. And I'm having a really weird bug with my software. Just wait a second. Alright, it should be fixed now. I mean, it is fixed. But now I'm just circularizing my orbit. That's a really weird word, circularizing. It ended up that I had a perfect Mars transfer window. I was literally right there. I don't know why. I haven't went to Mars then. It was the first time, so I don't know. I guess it's just pure luck. Here I was getting the encounter right. I wanted to get inside of Deimos orbit, or Phobos. How do you say that? How do you say the moon? Tell me in the comments. Is it Phobos or Phobos? But here I was with my stupid little lander. I mean, it looks real goofy with that heat shield on the engine and stuff. So I made the quick save, forgetting I forgot the word aero brake. I forgot the word, so I just put re-entry and then remembered it here. And when I made a quick save, I put aero brake. I was tilting my rocket since it was, for some reason, tilting up. I set myself on a crash course instead of just an atmosphere scrape, which doesn't make it much of an aero brake. But here's the fire, the plasma. This part is always really cool in real life. I ejected the heat shield and just tried to land. I was trying to keep my speed, but under 15 meters per second, because on the moon, that's how you do it. You get to the, you land on the moon with less than 15 meters per second of speed, downward speed, because then you just explode or just bounce up. You saw in my series video, if you've seen it, that when I landed on series, I just bounced off and yeah. But that was buttery smooth. Let's take a look at the new Mars mod, since it got reworked, and that is just beautiful. You know, the devs really outdid themselves with this 1.6 update. Maybe they could add something where you go back in time. But yeah, no, I'm just throwing things out there. That's stupid. I don't know why they add that. I was just thinking that maybe you could go to back in time to terraform Mars or something. But there are probably mods to do that. Here I was making the quick save, burned back from Mars, and I ran out of fuel. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? So I just loaded the aero brake save again and tried to conserve fuel as much as I could. Just burned the tiniest little bit so I could get a crash course. And even then, I didn't get a crash course. It was just 800 meters from the surface, which was fine since we were going to air brake, lose all that speed. I used a little trick. I switched to another one, which could time warp faster, since this one could only time warp 3x. So I just switched to another craft and sped up time. Here I was slowing down. The good thing the heat shield has pretty high heat resistance, since it would have gotten charred and burned in 2 seconds. It was not a heat shield. Here I was canceling out my side velocity and slowly landing on Mars. But it's not really slow. I'm going 880 meters per second. I actually thought I was gonna crash, but I didn't. But I did bounce and almost tip over. So that was really annoying and a waste of my fuel. My precious fuel. But it's fine since I landed on Mars. Here's the ascent. It's kind of boring. It's like on Earth, but you don't have that much atmosphere around you, so you can do your gravity turn way earlier. Here I was just fiddling with the orbits and stuff. As you can see, my orbit dipped into the atmosphere, so I didn't want to waste fuel. I used that trick. When you use that trick, the other craft doesn't get atmospheric burning either. But yeah, I ran out of fuel again. I was waiting that just maybe I could get an encounter with Earth, but there was no hope. So I was just stuck in orbit. I accepted my fate, just went back to the Space Center. But if you have any ideas on how I can get to Mars, please tell me in the comments down below. I'd be happy to hear your ideas and maybe even put them into practice. So that was it for this video. See you in the next one.